The evening sky was turning orange when the biker named Mike pushed his motorcycle harder than ever before. His heart was beating fast, not because of the speed, but because of the small girl tied safely behind him. Lily, his 6-year-old daughter, was leaning against his back with her tiny arms weak and hanging. Her breathing was slow. Too slow? Mike kept whispering, "Stay with me, baby. We are almost there." But deep inside, he knew he was lying. There was no hospital on this empty highway. No clinics, no houses. Just long, dark road, dry air, and silence. The wind touched Lily's face, but she did not move. Mike felt a fear he had never felt before. Only one thought was inside his mind. I cannot lose her. Not today. His phone had no signal. His fuel was low, and Lily's condition was getting worse every second. Suddenly, the bike made a strange noise, a heavy clunk. Clunk, clunk. Mike's eyes widened. No, not now. Please, not now. The bike jerked once. Then again. Smoke came out from the side, and then the engine died. The motorcycle stopped in the middle of the empty road. The sudden silence felt like a punch to Mike's chest. He quickly jumped off the bike and checked Lily. Her small head fell forward. Her lips were turning pale. Mike's hands started shaking. Lily, can you hear me?" But she didn't respond. Mike looked around in panic. Only darkness ahead. Darkness behind. No sound except the lonely wind. He waved his hands in the air, screaming for help. "Somebody! Please! Anyone!" But no one was there. His biggest fear was now in front of him, losing his daughter in the middle of nowhere. He tried calling emergency numbers, but his phone showed no service. He fell to his knees beside the bike and held Lily close. Tears filled his eyes. "Hold on, baby. I will save you. I promise." He picked her up and stood on the road again. But before he could move, something changed, far away. A pair of small headlights appeared. Mike froze. Was it a car? Was it real? Or was his mind playing tricks on him? The lights slowly came nearer. A car, old but steady. It moved toward him like a hope in the darkness. Mike waved both his arms desperately. "Help! Please stop!" The car slowed down. Brakes screeched softly. The door opened. A woman stepped out. She was dressed in a simple black nurse uniform. Her name tag shone under the dim light, Nora. She had calm eyes. But the moment she saw Mike's face, she understood something was very wrong. "What happened?" she asked quickly. "My daughter? She's dying. Please help her," Mike cried. Nora rushed to Lily and gently checked her pulse. Her expression changed instantly. Her calm eyes filled with worry. She touched Lily's face, checked her breathing, and felt her weak pulse again. Mike watched her with hope and fear. "Can you save her? Please tell me she will be okay?" Nora didn't look up. She stayed focused, her hands moving fast. But the seriousness on her face scared Mike even more. Finally, Nora whispered in a tense voice. "Her pulse is very weak." Dangerously weak. Mike felt the ground slipping under his feet. Nora took a deep breath and looked at him. "Listen to me carefully," she said. "We do not have much time." Her words cut through the air like lightning. Mike stared at her, trembling. "What do we do? Tell me." Nora opened her emergency medical bag. She moved with the speed of someone who had seen death up close too many times. She checked Lily's airway, tried to stimulate her breathing, and kept her warm. But then she said something that made Mike's heart nearly stop. "If we don't act right now, she may not survive." The wind turned cold. The road seemed even darker. And at that moment, Mike realized that this stranger, this black nurse who appeared from nowhere, might be the only hope he had left in the world. The part ends as Nora looks directly into Mike's eyes and says, "We must move fast. Every second is important now." Nora did not waste a single second. The moment she saw Lily's weak pulse, something inside her switched on a sharp focus, a strong determination. She lifted the little girl carefully and placed her on the back seat of her car. Her hands moved fast but gentle, like someone who knew exactly what to do in moments of danger. Mike followed closely, almost stumbling, his breath trembling. "Is she breathing? Please tell me she's breathing." Nora didn't answer yet. She checked Lily's chest, watched carefully for tiny movement, listened near her nose. Then opened her small emergency bag again. "Her breathing is shallow," she finally said. "Very shallow." Mike felt another wave of fear hit him. He held the car door for support. What is happening to her? "She was fine this morning." Nora looked at him with serious eyes. "I think she's having a severe allergic reaction. Something she ate, something she touched, something her body couldn't handle." She pulled out a small bottle and a few tools. "Her airway is closing. If we don't help her now, she won't make it to a hospital." The words cut through Mike's heart. He felt helpless, like the world was slipping away. But Nora was calm. She poured a cool liquid onto a small cotton pad, placed it under Lily's nose, and massaged the sides of her neck. She tapped gently on Lily's chest, trying to stimulate deeper breaths. Lily's eyes didn't open. Her head was still. Her tiny fingers were cold. Mike's tears fell. "Please. Save her." Nora didn't look away from Lily. "I'm trying. But listen, we don't have a full medical setup here. This is only temporary help. She needs a proper clinic." "And fast?" Mike asked. "Where is the nearest one?" 20 minutes away, Nora replied. Mike felt his heart drop. 20 minutes? She can't. I don't think she can survive that long. We have no choice. Nora shut her emergency bag. "Get in. I'll drive." Mike quickly sat in the back seat with Lily, holding her small hand tightly, whispering her name again and again. Nora got behind the wheel and started the engine. The car's headlights cut through the dark road as she hit the accelerator. The ride began with a jolt. Nora pushed the car to its limit. She kept her eyes straight, jaw tight, her mind racing as fast as the car. Every second mattered. Every second could decide life or death. But halfway down the road, Lily's breathing made a strange sound, a short gasp followed by silence. Mike panicked. "Nora, something's wrong. She's not breathing." "She's not." Nora slammed the brakes. The car skidded to the side of the road. Dust rose around them. She jumped out, opened the back door, and pulled Lily into her arms. Her hands moved fast, checking the pulse again. It was dropping. Too fast. Mike's voice broke. "Nora, do something. Do anything." "I'm trying," she said firmly. She placed Lily on the ground, lifted her small chin, and started giving emergency breaths. Then she pressed 2 fingers carefully on her tiny chest in small, controlled movements. Mike watched with wide, terrified eyes. His whole world was lying on the cold road. His daughter. His only family. He kept whispering, "Please. Please wake up, Lily. Daddy is here." Nora continued her work with full focus. Sweat touched her forehead despite the cool night air. She breathed for Lily, pressed her chest. Checked her pulse again. Nothing. Mike's heart felt like it was tearing apart. Suddenly, Nora reached into her bag again, pulling out a small auto-injector. "This is risky," she said breathlessly, "but it might open her airway." She injected it quickly into Lily's leg. For a few long, silent seconds, nothing happened, and then Lily's body jerked once. A tiny breath escaped her lips. Another breath. Then another. Mike fell to his knees, crying, "She's breathing. Nora, she's breathing." Nora nodded, still tense. "We bought time. But only a little." She lifted Lily again, placed her gently in the back seat, and looked at Mike with fierce determination. "We have one chance," she said. "Only one." Mike wiped his tears and nodded. Nora stepped on the accelerator again, and the race against time began once more. The car shot forward like an arrow the moment Nora pressed the accelerator. The dark road seemed endless, stretching like a long black ribbon under the headlights. Inside the car, every second felt heavier than the last. Lily lay across the back seat, her breathing weak, her body still fragile. Mike held her tiny hand with both of his, kept whispering, "Daddy is here. Stay with me. Please don't leave me." His voice cracked with every word. He had never felt this helpless in his entire life. Nora kept her eyes on the road, both hands gripping the steering wheel. Her jaw was tight, her heart beat fast, but her voice stayed steady. "How is she breathing now?" Mike leaned closer to Lily, still weak, but better than before. He looked up at Nora through the rearview mirror. "Will she survive?" Nora didn't answer immediately. She exhaled slowly. "We need to reach the clinic. That's her best chance." The tension inside the car grew heavier. Suddenly, the road curved sharply. Nora slowed a little, but the car still skidded slightly on the gravel. She controlled it quickly, but it made Mike's heart jump. "Please be careful," he shouted. Nora nodded. "I will. But we can't slow down too much. Time is not our friend tonight." As they rushed forward, the night grew colder. The wind outside howled through the cracks of the window. The trees on both sides stood like dark shadows watching them pass. Every few minutes, Nora looked back to check on Lily. Her eyes filled with worry she tried to hide. But then something happened that made her stomach twist. Lily's breathing changed again. Mike felt it instantly. "Nora, she's breathing too slow." Too slow. His voice trembled with fear. Nora looked quickly in the rearview mirror. "How slow?" Mike counted her chest movements. 1, then nothing for a long time. Then another weak breath. Nora swallowed hard. This was dangerous. Lily's airway could close again at any moment. They were still 10 long minutes away from the clinic. "Don't panic," Nora said, even though she was panicking inside. "Talk to her. Keep her awake if you can." Mike gently shook Lily's shoulder. "Lily, sweetheart, Daddy needs you to wake up. Just open your eyes for me." He kissed her forehead. "Please." But Lily didn't move. Nora's heart sank. She had seen this before. Children slipping away inch by inch. And she could not let that happen again. She made a fast decision. "I'm pulling over. I have to help her again." Mike's voice cracked. "But that will waste time. If I don't, she won't make it to the clinic," Nora said firmly. The car screeched as Nora pulled over on the side of the road. She rushed to the back seat, pulled out her emergency bag, and checked Lily's pulse again. It was slow. Dangerously slow. Mike felt tears welling up again. "She's slipping. I can see it in her face." Nora took a deep breath. "I need to assist her breathing again. Lift her gently." Mike lifted Lily's head while Nora placed her hands in position. She gave small breaths, pressed lightly on Lily's chest, and whispered, "Come on, sweet girl. Fight. Just fight a little more." The seconds felt like hours. Then suddenly, a small gasp escaped Lily's mouth. Then another. Her chest rose slightly, weak but steady. Mike cried, "She's breathing again. Nora, you brought her back." Nora closed her eyes for a moment, relieved. Not fully, but enough to continue. She took another deep breath. "Help me put her back in the seat. We must go now." They placed Lily gently inside. Mike held her hand tightly again. Nora returned to the driver's seat, wiped sweat from her forehead, and started the engine. "This time I won't stop," she said, her voice strong again. "Whatever happens, we must reach the clinic." Mike nodded, his voice shaking but full of trust. "I believe in you." Car sped off again, racing through the night. The clinic was still far, the danger still close. But Nora was determined. She would not let this child slip away, not tonight. The clinic finally came into view, a small white building with a fading sign. Standing alone beside the quiet road, its lights glowed softly in the dark, almost like a promise of hope. The moment Nora saw it, she pressed the accelerator even harder. "Hold on, Lily," she whispered. "We're almost there." Mike clutched Lily's hand as if she would disappear the moment he let go. He kept whispering her name with trembling lips. "We made it, Lily. We made it. Just stay with me, baby." Nora stopped the car right at the entrance. Before the engine even settled, she jumped out and rushed to the back seat. "Mike, help me carry her." Mike lifted Lily, and Nora guided him inside. The clinic looked old, but clean. 2 nurses were sitting at the desk, surprised by the sudden emergency. Nora didn't waste time. "She's having a severe allergic reaction," she said firmly. "Her airway is unstable. We need immediate support." The staff quickly brought a stretcher. Mike placed Lily on it, then stepped back, his hands shaking. The doctors wheeled her into the emergency room, leaving the door halfway open. Nora followed inside while Mike stayed just outside, unable to breathe, unable to think. Minutes passed, then 15, then 30. Each second hurt. Mike felt like the world had become a blur. He sat on a hard wooden bench, staring at the floor. His heart felt too heavy to beat. After almost 40 minutes, one of the doctors walked out. His expression was serious, but calmer than before. "She is stable," the doctor said. "Your daughter is out of immediate danger." Mike covered his face with his hands as tears poured out, tears of relief, fear, and thankfulness all at once. Thank you so much." But the doctor wasn't done. He sat beside Mike and spoke in a soft voice. "I want to tell you something about the nurse who brought your daughter." Mike lifted his head slowly. "Nora," the doctor nodded. "Yes, she's not from our clinic. She doesn't work here. She just brings people here sometimes, people in danger." Mike frowned, confused. "Why? Does she live nearby?" The doctor sighed. "Not exactly. She comes here once or twice a month. Sometimes alone, sometimes with someone she helped from the roadside." Mike stared at him, puzzled. "But why does she do that?" The doctor paused. His next words came slowly, almost carefully. "She lost her own daughter 2 years ago." Mike's heart dropped. The doctor continued, "Her daughter had a medical emergency while they were driving. They were far from any hospital, too far. Nora tried everything. She was a nurse even then. She fought with all her skills to save her child. But there was no help on the road, no passing car, no one to stop." Mike felt a cold wave of sadness wash over him. When her daughter died in her arms, the doctor said softly, Nora changed. She left her job in the city and moved closer to highways and small clinics. She promised she would never let another child die on the road, not if she could help it. Mike swallowed hard. His eyes burned. "And today, she saved my daughter." The doctor nodded gently. "Yes, when she saw her. It must have reminded her of her own little girl. But she didn't freeze. She didn't panic. She fought again for your child." Mike's chest felt tight with emotion. He wiped his tears, but they kept falling. I had no idea. She never said anything. She rarely talks about it," the doctor explained. "Helping others is how she heals." At that moment, the emergency room door opened. Nora stepped out quietly, wiping her hands with a small towel. She looked exhausted, but her eyes held a soft, calm light. Mike stood up immediately. Nora approached. But before she could speak, Mike said in a breaking voice, "You saved my daughter. After losing your own?" Nora froze, surprised the doctor had told him. Her eyes softened with old pain. Mike stepped closer. "I don't have words big enough to thank you." Nora looked away for a moment, fighting tears. "I couldn't save mine, but tonight I'm glad I could save yours." The two stood in silence, a silence filled with grief, gratitude, and respect. Lily survived because Nora refused to let history repeat itself. But the night was not over. More truth and more miracles were still waiting. The night outside the clinic was calm, but inside, Mike's heart was still shaking like a leaf in a storm. Every sound from the hallway made him jump. Every footstep made him hope it was someone coming to tell him Lily was awake. Nora sat quietly on a chair nearby. For the first time that night, she looked tired. Truly tired. Her shoulders were low, her eyes half-shadowed. Saving other people always reminded her of the child she couldn't save. Yet she never stopped. Mike looked at her for a long moment. He wanted to say something comforting, something powerful, but words felt too small. Instead, he whispered, "Thank you," again, gently. Nora gave a soft smile. "You don't have to thank me. I'm just glad she made it in time." Minutes turned into an hour. Nurses kept moving in and out of Lily's room. Machines beeped softly. Medicine dripped steadily. The air smelled of disinfectant and hope. Mike walked back and forth, unable to sit. Nora watched him quietly. She remembered doing the same thing years ago, pacing, praying, begging the universe to give her child one more breath. Then suddenly, a nurse came out of the room. "She's awake," she said with a calm smile. Mike's heart jumped. "She's awake. Can I see her?" Of course, the nurse replied gently. "Just be calm. She's still weak." Mike rushed into the room, almost forgetting to breathe. Nora stayed behind for a moment, giving him space. Inside, Lily lay on a small bed, her eyes barely open but shining softly. Her tiny fingers moved slowly, almost searching for something. Mike rushed to her side and knelt down, tears already running down his cheeks. "Daddy?" she whispered. That single word shattered him. Mike took her hand and kissed it again and again. "I'm here, sweetheart. I'm right here. You've scared me so much." Lily gave a weak smile. Did we reach the hospital?" "Yes," Mike whispered, brushing her hair from her forehead. "You're safe now." Just then, Lily's eyes moved toward the door, and she saw Nora standing quietly there. Lily blinked. "You, the lady from the car." Nora stepped inside, her smile warm but her eyes emotional. "Hello, sweetheart." Now Lily lifted her hand slowly toward her. "You helped me, didn't you?" Nora moved closer and held her tiny hand gently. "I tried my best, dear. And you were very, very brave." Lily looked at her with innocent curiosity. "Why were you there? On the road?" Nora paused. For a moment, she didn't know how to explain something so heavy to a child so young. But she finally spoke in a soft voice. "Because sometimes, people need help when nobody else is around, and I want to be there when that happens." Mike watched them both, his heart swelling with gratitude. "Lily," he said softly, "Nora saved your life. If she hadn't been there, I don't know what would have happened." Lily squeezed Nora's fingers weakly. "Thank you for saving me." Nora felt something warm in her chest, a feeling she hadn't felt in years. It wasn't the pain of her past. It was something new, something healing. "You don't need to thank me," she whispered. "Just get better. That's all I want." The doctor entered smiling. "She'll need to stay for observation, but she's out of danger. She will recover fully." Mike almost collapsed with relief. "Thank God." "Thank you, doctor. Thank you." Nora stepped back a little. She didn't want to interrupt their moment. But Lily looked at her again and said, "Will you come back tomorrow?" Nora froze slightly. It had been a long time since someone asked that of her. She smiled softly. "Yes, I will." Mike walked to her and whispered, "You're family to us now. Whether you accept it or not." Nora's eyes filled with gentle tears, not of pain this time, but of something she had forgotten how to feel, belonging, as she stepped out of the room. The night sky looked a little brighter. Nora had saved a life, but what she didn't know was that life was about to change her life too. The morning sun rose slowly over the small clinic, painting the walls with soft, golden light. Birds chirped outside and the world felt calmer than the night before. Inside Lily's room, machines beeped gently as she slept peacefully. Her tiny chest rose and fell in a steady rhythm, a rhythm that brought comfort to Mike every time he looked at her. Nora stood near the window, looking at the sunrise. She hadn't slept the entire night. The events replayed in her mind, the roadside, the fear, the emergency help, Lily's fragile breaths. But what stayed with her most was the memory of holding Lily's hand, the way it reminded her of her own daughter, Mia. Mike walked up to her quietly. "You're still here," he said softly. Nora nodded. "I wanted to make sure she stayed stable through the night." "You've done more than enough," Mike said gently. "Go home. Get some rest." Nora smiled faintly, but didn't move. Her eyes stayed on Lily. "Do you know?" she whispered. "Last night was the first time I didn't feel scared of the road again." Mike looked at her, confused. "Scared? You were the bravest person I've ever seen." Nora shook her head softly. Bravery and pain often walk together. Before Mike could ask more, Lily opened her eyes. She blinked at the sunlight, then looked at both of them. "Good morning," she said in a small, sleepy voice. Mike laughed softly, overwhelmed with relief. "Good morning, Angel." Nora walked to her side. "How do you feel?" Better, Lily whispered. She reached out her small hand. Can you stay? Nora took her hand gently. Yes, I'm not going anywhere. Lily smiled a real bright smile for the first time since the emergency. That smile alone felt like a miracle. 2 weeks passed. Lily recovered slowly and beautifully. Once she was discharged, Mike invited Nora to visit them any time. Nora agreed, though she wasn't used to being invited anywhere. She had lived very quietly since losing her daughter. But Lily's laughter, Mike's kindness, and their warmth pulled her in like family she never expected. One afternoon, Nora received a message from Mike. We have something for you. Please come by. Curious, she drove to their small home at the edge of town. When she arrived, the front yard was decorated with colorful paper ribbons, small flowers, and a handmade sign. Thank you, Nora. Nora stepped out of her car slowly, surprised. What? What is all this? Mike walked out with Lily beside him. Lily held a small board covered with drawings and bright colors. Come, Lily said, pulling Nora's hand. They led her to a small corner of the yard, a peaceful spot under a tree. There stood a wooden post with a small plaque attached. Flowers surrounded it. A gentle wind moved the petals. Nora read the plaque slowly. In honor of Mia, whose light lives on through Nora, a breath caught. She stepped back slightly, tears forming immediately. Mike placed a hand on her shoulder. Lily wanted to make this for your daughter. Lily nodded, because she helped save me too. Nora knelt down, her heart breaking and healing at the same time. She touched the plaque gently. You remembered her name? Mike smiled softly. You carried her love with you that night. We wanted her to be remembered with love too. For the first time in years, Nora didn't feel the pain of loss alone. She felt understood. She felt seen. She felt like Mia's memory had finally found a home, a peaceful one. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but they were warm, gentle, healing. She hugged Lily tightly. Thank you, sweetheart. You have given me something I can never repay. Lily hugged her back. You gave me my life. This is for your girl. Mike nodded. You saved my daughter, Nora. But maybe Lily saved you too. Nora closed her eyes as those words sank into her heart. She felt something she had forgotten long ago. Faith, hope, a reason to keep going in that backyard. Under that small memorial, Nora realized saving Lily didn't just change one life, it restored 3. The biker's, the child's, and the nurse's own broken heart. And that restored humanity in the most beautiful way.